Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to show you how to make an iced coffee or a cold brew coffee with this Ninja Hot and Cold Brew CP301 coffee maker. So in my previous video I did a detailed review. We showed you how to make a pot of coffee. We did the specialty brew, but that video got pretty long. So I'm going to show you how to do an iced coffee. So you're going to need a really big cup. We're going to put ice in it. You're going to turn the machine on. And what we have here is, so again, this is where your selector, the size. And then we're going to do over ice and cold brew. So we're going to do the over ice first. You can use any coffee grounds that are made for a standard coffee maker. I'm going to use Folgers, but McDonald's has some. Kicking Horse is really good. But you got your filter basket here. It comes with a reusable filter. I like to use paper filters. Number 4 cone filters. These come in white or brown. The brown just don't have, they say they don't use bleach. Make sure you just get one. So put your coffee filter in, open it up, and kind of make sure it hugs the walls. And the size we're going to do a small. I found that you're going to have to put so much ice in your cup that the small works really well. Now the manual says, so if we look, since we're using the small, even though let's do over ice. We're doing the small. If we look on here, the small, we use 2 to 3 of these little cups, not the big side. But the manual said if you're doing it over ice, use an extra one. So it says 2 to 3. I'm going to put 4. So we put it right there. 1, 2. Now the reason for that extra one, it says, is because when the ice melts, it really waters it down. So I've got my coffee grounds in. I'm just going to push the filter basket in. I'm going to make sure I got plenty of water. I've got my water reservoir full. So this is a 16-ounce glass. It's a pretty big glass. They recommend filling it all the way up with ice. And again, when we do these over ice and these small settings, it's not going to turn. This has a warming plate, so make sure your light's not on, but mine's cooled down. So when we do this brew, as long as we're not doing the coffee pot brews, it doesn't turn the warming plate on. So I can just set my cup right there in the middle. Like I said, I've got my machine on already. I've got it selected for over ice on the small. Just gonna hit the start button. This takes a little bit longer and it brews. So I've checked the temperature coming out. It's a little cold. It's about 140 coming out of here. And it melts that ice pretty quick. So what it's doing right now, it's kind of heating the water up. It put a bunch of water in the filter basket, but you'll notice nothing's coming out here. This thing can electronically move that filter basket up and down to let the water out of the filter basket. So in just here a little bit, you'll hear this filter basket will move up and then the coffee will start coming out. This is all controlled by this Ninja. It's a really kind of intricate coffee maker that kind of uses letting the water stay in that filter or the hot water stay in that filter basket to its advantage. It can control that. Even with the small, this one does take about 4 or 5 minutes to brew over the ice. Okay, so it just moved that filter basket and now it's letting the coffee come out. And then it stopped it again. So it's going to put a bunch of water in the coffee grounds, let it sit in the coffee grounds, and then it's going to let it come out. That's kind of why you hear you'll hear a mechanical thing moving up and down. That's what's happening. It's letting the water in and out of the filter basket. Okay, so it opened up. It's letting a bunch of coffee out now. And then it's going to close again. Okay, so now it's just brewing the coffee. And your ice melts really quick. So you want to make sure and fill this up with ice because it really melts the ice. And as we watch this graph, it's almost finished. It's on the very last bar. We can watch the progression of this. So it's got just a little bit left to go. And there's an iced coffee. And you can dump your milk in there if you want. You can dump your syrups in there. It's got that coffee is really chilled down with the ice. Okay, so it beeped at us, said it's done. There you have it. There's an iced coffee. And again, you can do this for other settings. That's a little bit more, so you're going to want maybe even a bigger glass. So you just got to kind of play around with it. Make sure you get the right size glass in there for the amount of ice and the amount of coffee that comes out. I think this is just the perfect size for an iced coffee. So again, if that's pretty bitter, you can add some milk to it. And you can add some syrups to it. But that's a pretty good tasting drink. That milk will help take the bitterness taste out of it. So I've showed the over ice. I think people are going to use that more than the cold brew. Now the cold brew, it takes twice as long. It takes a really long time to brew it. And it comes out at, so even on the cold brew, the coffee that comes out of there is at 120 degrees. So it's still kind of hot, but they call that a cold brew. And here's how it did really well with the coffee grounds. So I'm going to refill this up and we'll do a cold brew. So again, I put 4 of these in because I'm going to do the small setting. Got my filter in, coffee grounds in. So we'll move the selector to cold brew. The cold brew light is lit. I'm going to do a small. I've still got plenty of water in my reservoir, and just hit the start button. And again, this takes about 10 minutes or so. But as it progresses, it's going to slowly bring this bar graph over. You can kind of see where it's at. And it's filling the coffee filter with water, but it's not letting it come out yet. And that's probably what takes the longest. So it just sits there with that coffee, with the hot water in the coffee grounds, and then eventually it'll open this up and let the coffee grounds come out. So I prefer to do the over ice because it just brews so much quicker. It's really taken a long time to let that coffee out of the filter basket. Okay, so it just now started letting the coffee out. So it opened up that filter. Now it closed it again. Now it's going to put some more hot water inside the filter basket and kind of do this. That's what takes so long. So the coffee that's in there right now, only 100 degrees. So it sort of is a cold brew. Okay, so that took about 10-15 minutes. It is pretty cold. It's under 100 degrees. So the possibilities are really endless. There's still several more. I mean, with the cold brew, you can do different sizes. I mean, they just take forever. And with the over the ice, I only did the small one, but you can do, I'm not sure you'd be able to do big coffee pots with ice, but so I hope this video helped. It was just those 2 settings, over ice and cold brew. Again, I think most people are just going to do the over ice because it's a little quicker. So if you could, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.